state your occupation.
Okay, so I'm Professor Lee Green. I'm a family physician and a professor in the medical school here.
All right. So as a doctor, what does that entail? What all does that entail?
Well, in my case, it means practicing a full range of family medicine, taking care of old folks, little babies, everyone in between, minor office surgical procedures, caring for folks with chronic illness, the whole range of being a family doctor. It also means teaching students and residents. I have folks at various levels of training who spend time with me in the office. I also teach in the classroom, of course, teach courses on clinical epidemiology and other things. But mostly it means, in my case, doing a lot of research. I have students and postdoctoral fellows who work with me on research projects, junior faculty, etc., and then other faculty who join me for a variety of research projects, mostly aimed at improving the quality of medical care. And that's really kind of our group's focus.
Now, can you tell me about the education required and kind of your path?
Okay. My path was a little bit unusual. I dropped out of high school at the end of 11th grade and came to the University of Michigan as part of an experimental program that was run here called YSEP. There was always some unclarity about what those letters stood for. But in any case, it was to take people who were perhaps in need of more of a challenge and bring them to the University of Michigan early. So I came here, went through the undergraduate program here, didn't actually finish my undergrad, which ultimately was concentrated in mathematical statistics. Didn't finish my undergrad though, decided I want to be a family physician. I tend to be pretty idealistic, and family medicine seemed to me to be what I wanted to devote my career to. So I applied to medical school here and was accepted and went through the medical school curriculum here, 1979 to 1983. Then remained here for my family medicine residency training from 1983 to 1986. Subsequent to that, I did the master's degree in public health, in health management and policy, through the School of Public Health's what they call OJOP, On-Job On-Campus program. That was in 86 to 88, and had been on the faculty as an assistant professor, associate, and now full professor since.
So your road to your current position, residency, and can you speak about the road that you took?
Yeah, of course, once you finish medical school, in order to become a family physician, you have to do a residency in family medicine. You have to be part of an accredited residency training program. It's a 3-year program, which involves rotations in all the various major areas of medicine, and a lot of intensive training in the outpatient setting. That is designed to prepare you to obviously to be a family physician, to take care of patients across the whole spectrum of age and major illnesses and minor illnesses and so forth. The training program here is an interesting program in that it has the advantages of family medicine rotations in hospitals and small clinics and so forth that any family medicine program has, as far as direct hands-on patient contact, etc. But it also has the educational resources of the University of Michigan, which is an outstanding institution, much more than most folks have to call on. So it really kind of is a best of both worlds sort of situation. It's a really good program, and I'm fortunate to go through it. It's an academically rigorous program that helped fire my interest in the quality of medical care, in studying and working to improve quality of care. That's why when I finished residency here, I was talked into remaining on faculty by our then chair, Dr. Terrence Davies. Terry convinced me to stay here and to do a master's in public health. To do what I do, you need more than an MD in a residency. You really do need additional training. You need typically a master's in public health or a PhD, but the MPH is the usual course. So I did that. I learned a great deal more about health policy, about the quality of care, about how to conduct research in medicine, and of course then joining the faculty here, I was privileged to be in a setting where there are a number of active researchers, folks who are well known around the world, and those folks could then serve as mentors. I could learn from them, develop my skills, and so forth.
You touched on mentors. How important is a mentor?
Oh, tremendously important. That, in fact, is probably the most important single thing I do at this stage. I've been a full professor for some time. I'm pretty far on in my career at this point. And really, the majority of what I do is mentoring junior faculty. The situation when I started was that there were not very many mentors available in family medicine. My generation was kind of the first cohort to come through and try to get into serious research career and to try to build the core of knowledge and specialty. So we had limited mentorship available, had to kind of go our own way a lot. Fortunate to be at the University of Michigan because there are people outside of family medicine here. We had a very young department at that time, but we were in a school with people who'd been around a long time, with people who could really serve as senior mentors, who could guide a career, help shape a career, who could take a junior faculty member and teach them how to be successful. So looking outside the department, I was able to find that here. Then today, we have a lot of senior folks in the department who benefited from that, and we are now in a position to serve as mentors for the next group coming through. And as I say, that's really what I spend the majority of my time doing, actually. I have several research projects active right now. I'm the principal investigator on only one. My real value is to serve as a co-investigator and mentor and help guide the others.
So what made you want to become a doctor?
I was quite idealistic. I read about family medicine, especially, which was really in its infancy at that time. The general practitioner of generations before was rapidly becoming extinct, and medicine was becoming much more complex, much more challenging. Additional training beyond the general practitioner's training was really needed, especially if family medicine had just been created not long before. I read about it, and it really appealed to me. I thought, yes, that's the right thing to do. That's what I want to do. That would be rewarding to me. So I applied to medical school so that I could become a family physician. But it was the desire to do something that was very challenging, that would use my skills, that would force me to stretch, to grow, and would be of value to other people. It would be worthwhile to other people. It's doing something for people.
So what type of person do you think is best suited for a position like yours?
Oh, for an academic family medicine position, I think you'd want to be pretty idealistic. It has to be something you really believe in. It's not a job. It's a calling. If it's what you want to do, then you should do it. If it's not really what you believe in, it's not really right for you. It has to be where you live. It has to be what gets you out of bed in the morning. Beyond that, if you really have the desire and the commitment, the other thing you need is the willingness to work really hard and learn a lot. It's intellectually, trying to be on the faculty of a major medical school, especially at the University of Michigan's level. That requires doing your homework. That requires doing a mountain of homework. This is a very intellectually rigorous place, and the kind of folks who do well here are those who find that enjoyable and who are up for the challenge.
So what makes your career fun, interesting, or exciting? Or all of the above?
Oh, it is all of the above. Fun, I mean, taking care of patients, seeing folks that I have seen since they were born, taking care of families that I've seen for years and years. There's always something new, of course. Just from a purely medical standpoint, being a family physician, you never know what's going to come in the door on any given day. There's always some puzzle. There's always some challenge, and you're taking care of people you care about. That's a rewarding sort of feeling that's pretty hard to get elsewhere. It's also just constantly fun and challenging because being a research faculty member in a wonderful medical school like this, you get to learn all the time. I mean, there's always something new. My bookshelves are a little bit empty right now because of the moving process, but this is a place where you live amongst knowledge. and help create new knowledge. And that's one of the most fascinating things in the world, when you do a project and you find an answer. You discover something new. And you and your colleagues come up with something, and you publish it and you present it, and it's new and it's interesting, and that's just really cool. to be in a place like this that's just so full of knowledge, and to be able to add to that yourself. That's worth getting out of bed in the morning for.
What advice would you give a young person who wants to follow in your footsteps?
First, be sure it is what you want to do. If it's what excites you, if it's what you feel would be rewarding, if it's what you think would be meaningful, then start working and be diligent. Study, keep a balance. Okay, you don't get any mileage by burning yourself out early, of course, but you do have to be ready to study pretty hard. I would advise folks that want to do what I do not to concentrate too much too early. Learn broadly. I would even say, don't do a pre-med undergrad. Do what really interests you. You have to get your prerequisites for pre-med in, of course, but go through engineering, go through art, philosophy, learn broadly, be an educated person. And you can learn the content, the medicine, the research skills, you can learn those, but you will be so much more if you have a broad education first, if you understand the world more broadly. So work hard, get good grades, the usual advice, but don't narrow down too quickly. Learn, be educated. Don't just be smart, and don't just learn a lot. Learn broadly and be educated.
Now, how would you say you narrowed down your focus at the end to become a family practice doctor?
Well, I did that in medical school. My undergrad was quite broad. It tended to be fairly heavy in mathematics because that's what I enjoy. But I took classes in literature and all over, and frankly, I don't think I ever found a class I didn't want to take. I could have been a student for 50 years. But I had to move on, of course. I didn't start narrowing down till I was in medical school, and really until my 4th year of medical school. I mean, I already knew what I wanted to do, but before the very end of my training, I did as much as broadly as I could. And then my 4th year, I concentrated on specific things that I needed. And then, of course, when I started residency, that's family medicine training. So that's very specific. But then, as soon as I was done with that, I went up to the School of Public Health and got my MPH, which, again, broadened my skill set.
Anything else you want to add to help somebody that might be thinking about becoming a doctor, or might be thinking about high school being boring and they're not finding what they need in high school, or just trying to find their way or their calling?
Yeah, if high school is not challenging you, if it's just really not doing much for you, look around for other things to do. It's more important to find something that you can really believe in, get your teeth into, and do something with, than it is to follow a track and check off boxes. Now, I dropped out of high school, went off to college, did something different. I know folks who took 2 years or got through high school, just got through high school so they could be done and get their diploma, but then took a couple of years and traveled or worked or even spent time in the military, a variety of different things, but ways to get out of just the lockstep education process and get into learning. There's a difference between school and education. And some folks, myself included, had to get out of the school system to really pursue education. Don't hesitate to do that if that's what you need. If high school's not doing it for you, I would say finish high school, just because until you've got that high school diploma, it's just a nuisance that you have to constantly work around or go back and get your GED or whatever. So if you can just grit your teeth and get through that last year of high school, or if you come up with the opportunity to drop out and go to college early like I did, go for it. But as soon as you can, take some time to do something else. Learn. Go find something to learn. You know, ride a bicycle across the country. Join the Peace Corps and see something in another country. Whatever it takes to learn something different, to keep your mind active, and to help you understand more of the world.
Was education that got you to your calling? Or was the calling there before you decided to focus on education?
I think the calling was there first. I think it was. It's something that I wanted to do. It was meaningful. Education was a means to the specific skills that I needed. Now, if I had not been pursuing that specific thing, I still would have pursued a broad education, just because that makes your mind better. That makes you a broader, deeper, more interesting person. I think that I would not have gone to medical school had I chosen a different path, had something else called to me. But I think I would have given the same advice in terms of go out and learn. Whatever it is you're learning. It could be geology, it could be ancient Russian history, it could be how to surf, but learn. Strive for mastery over something. Strive to improve at something. It's really, I mean, this sounds terribly Buddhist and all that, but the journey really is the reward. It really is about the process of becoming, much more than it is being. And I still regard it as completely unfinished. I'm a full professor at this point, and I'm on my way to somewhere. I'm not sure where yet, but I'm still learning. And I have a suspicion that if I ever stop learning, that'll be kind of like the end. I'm not sure it's just that the journey is the important thing. I think the journey may be the only thing. The destination is just this carrot you hang out there to keep you on the journey, but you don't ever want to actually get to it.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.